And StreamYard, here we are.
Mm-hmm.
Here we are. Another Saturday evening.
It's afternoon pod. We don't get to do this too much.
Yeah, late afternoon.
Yeah, I was looking this morning. I was like, man. Like I truly enjoy doing the podcast. I think you guys know that. But like I was like, fucking 5:30 on Saturday, right in the middle of the day. I gotta watch a fucking game in the middle of the day. And then like, man, fuck I don't want to do the pod before the pod. They fucking lived up to the day and the time. They sure did. I won't tell this story during the pod, but we got like some email, like, I went to Kansas, blah, 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 blah. But you guys saying it was, 50-50 last year for MVP, and he listed a bunch of stats. And I just responded back, like, we said it because we watched the games. And he responded back very, very angrily. And
that doesn't sound right.
Yeah, I was like, look, I don't know what you want me to do. You think he's better. I think Embiid's better. This is why I think he's better. Blah, 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 blah. And he said something really shitty. And I just waited till the end of the game. And I emailed him, eat a dick, Brian. And then I blocked him.
Eat a dick, Brian.
Yep. Eat a dick. Eat a dick, Brian.
Still getting comments daily from the one Jokic and Embiid TikTok that we posted like over 2 weeks ago now.
Yeah.
Ish. Nuggets TikTok is real. They're out there.
Nuggets TikTok is real. Not a sentence that I've ever really considered if the Nuggets TikTok is real or not, but
it is.
CJ says it's real, then it's real.
It's live and alive. Like us.
Let's do it. Eat a dick, Brian. The Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast is presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. Sign up for DraftKings Sportsbook by using promo code RTRS. And brought to you by MortgageCS. Become a MortgageCS Ricky VIP by going to mortgagecs.com/Ricky. Body Bio. Get 20% off Gut Plus and any other item at bodybio.com with a controversial new promo code that we will debut later in the pod. I can't wait for you guys to hear this. Briggs Auction, the official auction of the process at briggsauction.com, and Kinetic Skateboarding with a big Ricky special coming up next weekend. Not this weekend, but next weekend. On the show today, I mean, Embiid versus Jokic. It ends the way we wanted it to end. A big PJ Tucker game. I mean, just couldn't be more thrilled to be doing the podcast today. Couldn't be more thrilled. Joel Embiid, officially not an all-star starter, and I'm sure we'll have at least 5 minutes of the same argument we've had about that 75 times already. And at long last, we talk about the Ringer Top 100 rankings. Coming up on February 4th, that is 1 week from today, a huge Ricky announcement on February 4th. If you're on Fly the Process, you will find out about it earlier. If you're watching on YouTube live, we do almost every podcast live. Remember to subscribe. I don't know where the button is. It's below the screen, right, CJ? Subscribe on YouTube. That way you'll, get to see everything and set up notifications right there. I did mention Kinetic Skateboarding, kineticskateboarding.com. Next weekend, we're doing a different Kinetic special every week. And next weekend, we're going to do one on New Balance to celebrate Tyrese Maxey's new deal with New Balance. So a very special New Balance special next week with Kinetic Skateboarding. Go do a little pre-shopping right now. KineticSkateboarding.com. Remember, if it's your first order, you always use promo code Dave Silver for 9.1% off your first order. Without any further ado, Amos and the chef.
We were right, y'all. We were right. Even when it went wrong, we were right. We was right, y'all. We were right. So say the name. Say the name. We were right, y'all. We were right. Even when it went wrong, we were right. We were right, y'all. We were right. So say the name. Say the name. Say the name.
Welcome to the Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast. I'm Spike Eskin, along with a guy who has always believed that PJ Tucker would show his value for this team this year. That is one Mike Levin.
Great fucking defensive PJ Tucker game, man. Great
fucking
game.
Great.
The first, easily the best defensive game of the season for PJ Tucker. The switch that, the first half defense was horrendous.
Yeah, it was horrendous.
Absolutely horrendous. It was embarrassing. There's a lot we can talk about it, but let's be positive first. Doc switching PJ, whose idea was it? Doc's going to say it was his. Maybe Maxey texted it to him. Who gives a shit? PJ switching onto Jokic so Embiid could not be pulled away from the rim and PJ could just pester the shit out of him. It was a great call, and PJ delivered, man. He was great defensively. He was absolutely great. Embiid,
he flummoxed like Jokic in the second half. Like Jokic, I mean, you said it's a great job defensively. I think you could. I'm sorry for interrupting you. I am sorry. But like you could think that a great job defensively and think about like Iguodala in the finals against LeBron when LeBron like still went off or whatever, but made him work for everything. Yeah. Like Tucker did more than that in the second half today to Jokic. I mean, it truly changed the game, and he did an awesome job on him. Truly,
yeah. I mean, he forced a bunch of turnovers. That one play when he was using his hands and physicality, forced him out of bounds. Turnover, and then the massive steal at the end. That was a big play. The poke away, that was like really the difference. And using, in the first half, PJ got exploited a couple times his lack of athleticism when like there were like 3 Aaron Gordon lobs, and Embiid switching onto those. He knocked it away a bunch of times. Jokic had how many turnovers? 7 turnovers. He only had 12 shots. Jokic had 12 shots. He obviously played well. He had 24 points on 12 shots and 9 assists and 8 rebounds. He had a good game, but not the like game-breaking game that we've seen from him so many times. And it's because PJ like harassed him for all of the second half and just made him not only take, it wasn't like he was taking a ton of bad shots, but he had to give it up. And that was huge. It was totally different. They went from scoring how many points in the first half? 73 points in the first half to 46 points in the second half. It was massive. And the first half was really bad. I was ready to just talk about the defense in the first half, which we will, but that was huge. And then to top it off, finally a basket from PJ Tucker, a tip in.
It was huge.
Looked reasonably athletic as he did it.
Dude, he actually got like it wasn't the sort of tip in where his feet were glued to the ground and he
got up. No, he got up.
Way up.
He got up. And that was nice. He did miss a layup off of a back cut. That was embarrassing.
Come on.
And I was going to plunge into the abyss. And every time he does touch the ball on offense, I groan. I just can't stop groaning. Like I'm like at the dentist and my mouth is numb and I'm just groaning for everyone to hear. But huge tip in, great defensive game. And in a game when Trez couldn't have been worse defensively, PJ absolutely vaults himself into like I should be the backup center in the playoffs on these kinds of things.
Shout out Becky.
These kinds of games.
Shout out Becky.
Totally. I wanted it all offseason long, and then he has played like shit for much of the season. And his hand died, and he just kept playing through the dead hand. And it's like, let's show me something. And he showed me something in this game, and I'm happy about it. I'm thrilled. And I would love to give him like a week or 2 off to earn this. Let's sit with this performance and marinate on it and have a great time.
I do love
because if he's the backup center, he needs to be healthy, and Trez needs to not play a minute the rest of the season.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to do the Trez thing now because I want to just fucking ride the wave right here. Can we ride the wave? We'll do the Trez thing later.
Let's go Embiid.
Gotta fucking okay. So it was really truly a story of 2 halves for Embiid, even though his numbers in the first half were good. Yeah. We saw another version in the first half of Joel versus Ben, where he has all of this. You talk about him being the most human, Sixer of our lifetime. We as fans feel a certain way about matchups like this, and he felt that way, but you can't feel that way if you're that guy, or like you can feel that way, but you can't look like you feel that way. Yeah. And it wasn't the sort of rhythm that we saw all year. But I don't know if it was just settling in I think the PJ switch had something to do with it, getting some clean rebounds, being in a comfortable position defensively. But like in the second half, that the jumper came back, the 13 to 15 foot jumper came back. There were a couple of times off of Harden pick and rolls where you wanted him to go right up with it, and he didn't, but he still took the couple dribbles and hit that shot, hit a couple of threes, and just like, I'm looking at the fucking line right now, man, 47 points, 18 rebounds, 5 assists. Like, come on.
Yeah. He was unbelievable. He was absolutely unbelievable.
MVP
I think a lot in the first, I don't think it was in the Nets game, he was so desperate to shove Ben's underwear into the basket and tie it up on a nice little bow. And this game, it didn't feel like he was doing that with Jokic so much as like he got the first foul on Jokic first play of the game, and he was like, I'm going to get that second one. I'm going to get that second one right now. And then he started to like force it a little bit, and it looked a little bit weird. And then he actually got in a little bit of, came close to getting in foul trouble. So I think that was like and he was like 0 for 3 from the line to start, which was kind of bizarre. Yep. And then Jokic had a couple poke outs on that like Embiid rhythm dribble that he does before he gets into the mid-range. Against heady players like that, they're going to know his tendencies and he's going to poke it out. So I'm glad that he bounced back from that. And it's like it's a good learning experience that like Jokic is savvy enough to poke that ball out from time to time, and Embiid's got to be able to keep him guessing, especially in a 7-game series. But like once he had that end of the first quarter, Embiid does the 2-for-1, and an Embiid 2-for-1 for people who are new to the Sixers has never worked.
No,
not once. It's never worked. He always tries to do it. He takes a bad shot. He hoists it up. And he's just dying to do it. He plays the numbers. He plays them very well, but like they don't go in. He never goes in. And for him to hit 2 straight threes on a 2-for-1 was, I think, an indication like something good's going to happen. And also it was just the best rebounding game of his season by a lot. Jokic is an incredible rebounder, not just because he had 18 rebounds, but you felt it. You felt him doing that. Denver only had 6 offensive rebounds. The Sixers had 12. Embiid had 6 himself. It was a really good. We've been on Embiid for needing to be a better rebounder because without Ben Simmons, this team is lacking in athleticism and physicality on the glass. Even though Harden's a good rebounder and Melton's a good rebounder, they're still pretty small. And Embiid just took care of business today, and that was huge. And then
also what it reminds me of a little bit. I hate to give credit to the Celtics, of course, but the doing things the way that they did them for Embiid in the second half by putting Tucker on Jokic is similar to what the Celtics do with Horford and Robert Williams, and like sort of allows Embiid to be a little more free defensively. Mm-hmm. And he was able to
what the Bucks do with Giannis.
Yes. And he was able to get not that it wasn't a good rebounding game, but he was able to get some like clean rebounds. Like he was in the right spot and just bigger than anybody else there to get one. And I thought that really juiced it too. And you can't do this a ton during the regular season because you'll wear out Tucker. It's the same reason they never did it with Draymond that much during the regular season. But
take a month off, bud.
What's that?
Take February off. He doesn't need it. Just take it off.
But,
February, no work February.
This can be
dry February for in that he doesn't sweat. He doesn't sweat the entire month of January or February. PJ Tucker. There you go. Redefinition
of dry February. I'm looking on DraftKings to see what the MVP odds are, so I can get pissed at them.
So why you do that? Just offensively, Embiid, like obviously the isolation dribble drive past Jokic for the reverse was like the play of the game. But then after that, which was awesome, but then after that, it became just like isolation jumper city. Like, and it was just pick and pop. And then he did the rare thing that Embiid doesn't really do much, which is a pick and pop back to 3. Like he'll take threes if it's like out up top, but he loves picking and popping, moving forward, going to the nail. And he picked and popped to 3. And once that hit, it was just like, we're feeling really good. He's cooking. Mm-hmm. And then obviously the step back dagger over Jokic. Resulting in Harden jumping on his back. Like that's a special iconic moment when, on par with, obviously not in as big of a situation, but on par with like the airplane against Toronto. Yeah. And you're just like, when he's feeling good, it's just like so fun to watch him feel good and then the team feel good around him. And then those kinds of moments when everyone's doing body language therapist and police, watching them together and be happy and find each other and all that shit. It was great. We'll talk about Harden in a second, but it was just awesome. Embiid is the fucking man. And I don't know if you saw it because you started the podcast or you were here already, but I waited to watch the end. Ish Smith gave him a hug at the end and started talking to him, and it was a really nice moment to be like for the day ones for the 2014 guys. Seeing Ish come over, even though Colangelo traded for Ish and spent too much money on whatever, like seeing he was Embiid's first point guard, and it's nice to see them together and to like some. Ish is still in the league, like good for him. Well, anyway, whatever.
And Ish Smith, the first point guard that Nerlens Noel ever played with.
That's right. That's right. And then Embiid's post game, he said, "I keep that." Cassidy asked him, "You're not. We'll talk about it later, but you're not starting the All-Star game. Like, how do you feel about that?" And he goes, "Well, I keep getting disrespected, and it's cool," which I thought was just a funny way to say it. And he's just like, "Look, no freak injuries, and I'm due for a big playoffs." And
there we go.
I want to see it.
MortgageCS, sponsor of the Ricky. Mortgage, the word mortgage, then CS. Go to mortgagecs.com/Ricky. mortgagecs.com/Ricky. Before I tell you about MortgageCS, if you go to mortgagecs.com/Ricky, you get to see the beautiful Ricky site they've built with drawings of me and Mike and Rebel and the fucking ship of Theseus. It's amazing. MortgageCS is an independent, like we're an independent podcast, not associated with any major media company. MortgageCS is an independent mortgage broker, not tied to any bank. So you know that when you deal with MortgageCS, their only customer is you. You deal with some of these other bigger mortgage brokers, they have deals with banks. So theoretically, they could steer you toward a bank that may be better for them than it is for you, but not MortgageCS. They're based right here in the area. They are independent, as I said, and they're nimble, right? Like you go to buy a house and you need a mortgage, you need a pre-qualification letter at like 8 o'clock on a Saturday night. They're there. 9 o'clock on the Sunday morning. They're there. During the week, they're there. You can call or text their CEO, Ben, at any time, 267-391-7425, 267-391-7425. And what I would tell you is that even if you have you're going to buy a house now, you have a mortgage broker you've been working with, right? They quoted you a rate. You sort of like the rate. Do me a favor. There's nothing wrong with getting a second opinion. MortgageCS not only will work to get you the best rate, and this is what is so great about them and what we've heard from Ricky listener after Ricky listener, is that they want to make sure that you understand everything about your mortgage, because the rate isn't always the rate. The number that you see, that 6.25, well, but there's other stuff that goes into that cost. They want to educate you on it, and you'll feel better leaving. You'll know more, and you'll have a trusted resource. And now, as interest rates have gone up a little bit and the market has started to shift, and maybe at some point in the next year, it'll really, truly be a buyer's market instead of a seller's market, MortgageCS wants to be your partner. So proud that they are associated with us. They bought in full on, and I love that about the Ricky. They're fucking all about the Ricky. Go to mortgagecs.com/Ricky, mortgagecs.com/Ricky, or call or text your CEO, Ben, right now. Do it right now. See if it works. Just see if he responds. See if you watch a game. 267-391-7425. Over 200 5-star reviews on Google. MortgageCS. This advertisement is not a commitment to lend or extend credit. MortgageCS is an equal housing opportunity mortgage broker. All loans are subject to credit approval. Certain restrictions may apply. Company NMLS 1464766. Visit mortgagecs.com/Ricky for more information. I want to talk about Tobias, but do you want to do Harden before Tobias? Because
last thing on Embiid, just like it's so cool that he did this against Jokic on a national TV game when no other games were on a weekend. Like this is a big, it's not a holiday or anything, but like it's a big moment for people watching this game. Yep. And obviously this game one game shouldn't affect like MVP stuff or whatever. But like for him, like he hasn't come up big on every single big stage, and this is just like a good feeling for him. Your guy Andre Iguodala, who we've now mentioned twice on this podcast, tweeted Embiid to God. So there you go. It's a good feeling, and it's a good feeling going into tomorrow's NFC Championship game.
Has there ever been a player more in the league and not in the league at the same time as Iguodala? Like he's officially
him and Evan Turner are 1-2, I think.
Right. Like he's officially on the Warriors, but it seems like he does more podcasting than anything else. Has he even played this year? I don't think he's even played this year. I love Iggy. I miss
maybe
Iggy
a game
so
or
much.
A couple games here and there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Harden, because this was an excellent James Harden game. It wasn't like the flashiest James Harden game, but in the game when Embiid scored 47 points and hit 18 field goals, a lot of those are from Harden. Harden had 13 assists, no turnovers.
Yeah.
Like that's just
the no turnovers part is so big, especially.
No turnovers big. We've been talking about it lately. Like he's been getting a little bit careless with a couple passes here and there. And he was just giving it to Embiid where he wants it and where he can use it. And it's opened up a lot for him. And there was a really nice pass to that was like a patient pass to Niang off a cut that I loved. I love that early in the game. And he still had a couple moments here and there when he was reading the pick and roll and just like finishing at the rim, and a couple nice moments. Like it was just really, and the lift on his three, like another game where he shot, what did he shoot from three? 3 of 6. And that's just like, it feels that way. It doesn't, the threes have been going in. And we said on the last podcast that it's the best 3-point shooting season so far of his career, and since 2012, I think it is. And it feels that way. Like the shots look good. The lift looks good. It feels like he is loading up on them and he's not just taking a bunch of bad ones. It's really nice to see. He was excellent tonight.
I think, how could we talk about this Harden game? CJ, if you could bring up this video, how do we talk about this Harden game without talking about potentially the greatest moment for me, the greatest moment in the 10 years we've been doing this podcast, like especially contextless. So if you're listening to this recorded, I would go to YouTube or go to Spotify so you can watch it, just so we can go through this moment where the Sixers eventually get penalized for only having 4 players on the court.
Yeah, interesting defensive choice from Doc.
1-2-1 zone.
When their defense was bad. There is a chance that he was going for a 1-2-1 zone because he's trying to be me. I get it, but if you can't stop anybody, maybe just freak them out and say there's less guys out there.
So I think what happened. Well, let's play it first, and then I'll tell you what I think happened. All right, here you go. James Harden leaves the bench.
I love it. That's a heady play.
And gets hit in the face with the ball.
It's a heady play.
Look at.
It's a great play.
I was completely thrown off by that moment. So what it seems like happened was
I wish it was Korkmaz. It would have been great if it was Korkmaz, because Korkmaz is still in his warm-up. So Harden was dressed like a player.
What looked like it was supposed to happen was Thybulle was at the scores table, supposed to check in for Harden. Harden went to the bench. Thybulle never checked in. And Harden realizes this as play starts and jumps off.
They should have that should count, by the way. If you have 5 guys on the court, you should be able to, as long as they're announced, as long as they're like eligible, you should be able to hide.
I need to know, Sixers, Adam, if you're at the presser,
someone should be in the stands. Someone should drop down from the rafters like Sting.
Somebody's got to. If somebody doesn't ask Doc what the fuck happened there, I'm gonna have a heart attack.
They have to, and the players should be asked, and because they won, it should be able to be a joke.
Yes,
but it wasn't great.
Yeah, it was a great Harden game. He played perfect tonight. I would say, or today, I would say that he played a perfect game today. That was about especially considering what Embiid was able to do too. Like that was a perfect Harden game. He did shoot one step back that I knew he was going to shoot, that I knew wasn't going to go in. But if there's only one of those a game, I'll take it. I'll absolutely take it.
Yeah. I mean, there's a couple too many times when you're like, why is he dribbling the ball for 18 seconds before any offense is starting to happen? But I think that's just sort of comes with the package at this point. And he was great, and he's been great, especially when his turnovers are down. Like those turnovers are not like, oh, he can't get anything going. It's just like he's getting a little too careless. Like when he's on, he's been really on. And to impact the game this much when he only takes 10 shots, it's a big deal.
Tobias Harris in the first half, I think was 1 for 5.
No, 0.
0 at 0 points, and looked invisible. I can't even remember him touching the ball.
No.
And in the second half, did he hit 3 big threes? Was it 3 of them? 2 enormous 3-point shots. And by the way, a couple of very strong drives to the basket, where situations where he may have taken the 17-footer before, but he went and he laid it up. He was enormous in the second half of the game. Like he is a great if you were to sort of like pick one player as representative of how this game went for the Sixers, is Harris, I think.
Yeah, just totally non-existent in the first half. And then the second, it was like when it seemed like in the Nets game that Ben was determined to do something, it felt like that with Tobias, but it didn't seem like he was forcing it. And he was just like getting downhill, catching it on the move. When he's a tough guy to stop. Like he's not crazy athletic. and he's not crazy fast, and he's not even crazy strong, but like you put all of it together, and he's just like a tough guy to get in front of. And he just made a bunch of nice plays inside, good finishes, no dunks, unfortunately. We are still counting that, Tobias, so, correct that, please. But, yeah, a couple big catch and shoot threes that were huge. And then the biggest play of the game, a massive blindside steal. It's the defense spike. A massive steal on Jokic.
Yep.
Jokic at the nail dribble. I think he was backing down PJ.
Yep.
And Tobias was covering, I think it might have been Jamal next to him, and just felt Jokic turn his back, like one dribble, two dribbles, and he's like, I can take this. And he did, and he triggered a Maxey transition, and that was huge. And it was just like, it was a really nice play. It was a heady play for a guy that is not known for his steals and blocks. He's improved as a defender. He covered Jamal for most of the second half, and I thought he did a great job. But that's a big defensive play, and I've been so pro Tobias defense for so long, and it's very validating for me for him to, be one of the biggest plays of the game. That there a lot of big plays down the stretch there.
2 straight games. He had an enormous defensive possession in the Nets game too, on Seth Curry. I mean, like it's fucking Seth Curry, but still.
He had 31 or something like that. Yeah, it's a great game.
And like there's something about just to go to Melton. You know what? Fuck it. Let's do one quick negative thing. 2 straight games, Montrezl Harrell was the worst player on the Sixers, like by fucking far. And the
2 straight.
Well, just he had a nice run of like offensive games, I would say, where there was some value. But these 2 games,
I just dare you to find
the fact
a 6'9" guy that can't dunk when no one's on him, and he's 6'7". But like you can't find someone playing in Spain or the G League or anything. Friggin' who's the guy? Michael, who's their 2-way guy? Man, it's on.
Oh,
here.
Foster.
Michael Foster Jr.
Yeah,
like he could easily be doing the catch a ball on the roll and dunk when no one's around thing that Trez does. And there are a couple nice like dunks in traffic when, on off the rebound stuff, but like there's nothing he's doing that cannot be replicated by anybody playing professional basketball at that size in the world. Not in America, not in the NBA, in the world. He's giving them nothing, and his defense spike is so bad. It is horrendous. Trez and Melton covering the pick and roll. They both go to the ball handler. The ball handler at this time was Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, not a guy you have to double.
Right, who doesn't dribble. Yeah.
Not a guy you have to double.
Yep.
And KCP makes the easiest pass in the world to the MVP for a 3, wide open. Trez shrugs his shoulders, doesn't understand. And then because of that, because he's not a rim protector, because he can't defend on the perimeter, it forces other guys to help and overhelp. The next play after that, Tobias goes into no man's land to help on a drive, wide open MPJ 3. And that's not like Tobias obviously didn't make a good play there, but that's because everyone's like, we can't defend the point of attack enough, and there's no rim protection when Trez isn't in there. And it's just like, it's debilitating and it's pathetic. And if Doc keeps doing this, they are guaranteed to fail. Guaranteed. Absolutely guaranteed. To not try B-ball Paul in this game is a joke. To not even try. Was PJ Tucker out there as small ball 5 by himself at any point, even in a good game? No. It was Trez.
Honestly,
he had no rebounds in 10 minutes. The backup center. He had no statistics aside from one wide open dunk. That's the only statistic he had. What's going on?
I can't believe he saw the first half of this game.
Bring him back in
and put him in the second half.
Put him back in.
I just if I'm gonna cut Doc. I know I shouldn't. But I'm gonna cut Doc a break and go like, hey, this is his guy. He's gonna play him in the first half. It was so obvious in the first half. The fact that if he doesn't, if he's thinking all B-ball Paul cares about is his hoodies. I think this is Doc saying it. I think fucking moron. I can't trust him. Then figure something else out.
I would rather B-ball Paul while holding several hoodies to ship be playing. If he had to hold like several FedEx boxes on the court while he's doing that, I would rather that than Montrezl Harrell. I would much prefer that. I'd much prefer a FedEx employee to be standing next to B-ball Paul. B-ball Paul has to engage them in conversation and shipping costs while the game is happening. I'd rather that happen than Montrezl Harrell. It's absolutely ridiculous. I honestly might rather play 4 on 5 than have Trez on there. He is the worst defender in the league, and I can't believe this is a conversation. I can't believe it. We're still here. We've done this so many times. The deadline is in a couple weeks. Please save me from this certain doom. Unbelievable.
Certain doom. Okay. George Niang did hit some big threes in the second half.
Yeah.
George Niang has to stop showing up his teammates on the court.
I don't disagree. I love it.
But you can't do it.
I don't disagree, but I do love it.
But that's okay. So I'll accept that. He did it. He did it to Maxey. It's not the first time he did it to Maxey in the last game. The fucking the arms up. I mean, come on, man. I love.
It's funny energy for a backup.
I love the fire. I love talking shit to the other team after you hit any shot ever. Yeah. I do love all those things, but you got to compartmentalize. And by the way, everybody, I tweeted something about like Niang can't do that when he did it to Shake today, and he and Shake had to be separated. By the way, Embiid walking over, just putting his hand in Niang's chest and basically saying like, shut the fuck up and walking away.
I'm the only one that can slap the shit out of Shake. That's been established. That is that is the ecosystem of this team, not you.
But the other thing is yes, Shake keeping that ball for himself was the wrong move, but Niang took a terrible angle on that. Like if I was Niang, I would flare out to the fucking.
Oh no, I disagree with that.
No,
you get a 2-on-1. Give me an open layup. Give me an open dunk. Like it's got to be able to happen.
An open dunk.
Yeah, Niang can dunk.
George Niang.
He can dunk. He would win a dunk contest against PJ Tucker for sure.
Wow, he wouldn't win a dog contest against PJ Tucker. It'd be a good
maybe.
contest.
No, they're both dogs. They're both absolute boats.
He's got it.
It wasn't a good Shake play.
Yeah.
It's just funny because Shake is the quietest player on the team, and Niang is the loudest player on the team, and it's funny that they got it. I think it's fine. And then later in the third quarter, I think it was third. Shake swung to Niang for a three, and so it's like it's fine. I think these kinds of things happen. I think it's probably boiled up in Shake for a little bit, and then for Niang to show him up like that, it's fine for Shake to talk shit back to him. But yeah, I wish. It is a feature of issues I've had with this team is that like they don't make the like easy pass enough in like tight windows. And there was a time when Maxey didn't do it, when he had, God forbid, Trez wide open for a dunk, and instead of just handing it to him for an easy dunk, which is the best thing and only thing that Trez can do, is dunk when no one else is around, Maxey tried to do like a circus shot and missed it and started a break in the other end. And it was just like we got to be able to drive with the intent to read the defense, and if they go with us, then we can. That's got to be like a behind the back pass from Shake in that moment with the left. That's an easy Niang layup. That's 2 points, and so I get why Niang's pissed, but no, you're right as far as like don't show up your teammates, but also like, hey man, that's what you get with George. He's ready to talk shit.
So speaking of George Niang, and you think of bodies, Body Bio, a sponsor of the Ricky, Body Bio, home of Gut Plus, the only gut supplement you need. We've gotten so many Ricky listeners have emailed in who have tried Gut Plus, and it has helped them. Mike, it has helped him as well. Gut Plus. If you're taking a probiotic, don't take the probiotic anymore. Well, unless a doctor told you to do it, whatever. But the thing about probiotics is like your body makes them themselves, and what Gut Plus does is it helps your body make its own. And if you're taking a probiotic, chances are it might not be the right one for your body. There's tons of strains of probiotics, and it has to match completely. What Gut Plus does is Gut Plus is a prebiotic, a postbiotic. The prebiotic gets rid of the bad bacteria and allows your body to produce its own probiotic. And then the postbiotic comes in there, and it gets rid of all those symptoms you've been trying to get rid of. That bloat, keeps you regular. Here's the controversial part here, Mike. Our previous Body Bio promo code was RTRS20 for 20% off of everything on Gut Plus.
Okay.
Would you like to know the current Body Bio promo code? Now, this is 20% off Gut Plus, 20% off everything on the website.
Let's hear it.
Fire CJ.
Wow.
The Body Bio promo code, CJ, you can try it right now. It works.
Mike. Other Body Bio Mike. What's going on?
The promo code is Fire CJ.
Is there a rationale? Is CJ damaging to our guts?
All I know, this is what I know. There's a mystery. Wow, CJ popped on even without our request. You know that's how it's serious.
Yeah, he doesn't do it that much.
Go to bodybio.com, use promo code FIRECJ, FIRECJ, and you get 20% off anything at bodybio.com. CJ is he's trying it right now. I could see him. He's so furious.
Furious typing, breaking his keyboard.
You can use it on Elite, which is the best way to hydrate. Helped me with cramps in my feet and my calves and my like in the back of my hamstring. I would get cramps all day long. Elite, just the purest electrolyte. Go to bodybio.com. Use promo code FIRECJ for just even try it to see if it works. Just because it makes me happy because it works. Go to bodybio.com. Use promo code FIRECJ for 20% off Gut Plus or Elite or anything else on there. Bodybio.com. BodyBio. All right. Anybody else? Did I forget?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I thought it was a great Matisse game. I know you make a face and you get upset every time, but it was a great Matisse game. He was helpful.
He didn't fuck anything up.
He didn't fuck anything. He had no fouls. He had no turnovers.
Yep.
He has definitely gotten, there's definitely been times when he fouls too much. Absolutely. Didn't happen tonight. Made life hard on Jamal Murray. Jamal hit some shots. It happens, but like a couple big steals, 3 big steals. And just like, and a nice weird tip in. I need a weird positive Matisse offensive thing. He almost made a nice floater off an offensive rebound. It rimmed out. But I need a couple of those. And just against a team like this with a ton of cutters and shooters and athletes, like you needed his length and quick to twitch athleticism. I think he should have gotten a little bit more than 12 minutes, but it was a nice game. And a game when their defense was absolutely horrendous in the first half, he settled them down and was finished with a very +10, +- It was just like a nice composed Matisse game.
Anybody else? What a win. This is a great win, man. 7 in a row. They are 19-4 in their last 23.
20-4.
20-4, including an 8-game win streak and a 7-game win streak.
Yeah. I'll almost be mad if they win 9 in a row.
They just
I'm almost going to be upset
when you didn't want them to.
It shouldn't count. Let's see who we got next. We got the Magic, 2 in a row against the Magic to close it out to get the
9
evasive 9 in a row.
They will lose.
I don't think they're going to do it. The Magic have been looking good lately. The Magic own the Celtics, by the way. It's very funny to watch.
They've beat them 3 times this year, I think.
It's crazy. Let's talk about Maxey. He's very good, but he just miscommunicates on defense so often.
A lot.
I don't. There's sometimes when you're watching a game
and he's small,
and you don't know like who should have taken what, who should be talking. It doesn't seem like he is talking enough, at least. And I guess that's the sort of thing that comes with age generally. But like, there's too many miscommunications on defense. It wasn't all him tonight. Melton had a couple. There was one time when MPJ had a wide open look late in the game in the fourth quarter because Harden and Maxey were both covering the same guy and didn't realize it. I think that might have been Harden's fault, but like you can't tell. There's just so many times when Maxey is involved in some miscommunication leading to an open look for somebody else, and he also dies on screens, and it's just like it can't happen. Something has to be tightened up there. There was PJ was mic'd up when PJ was dropping in a pick and roll that Melton was covering, and him talking through it and Melton fighting through the screens. It was like, this is nice to see. This is how it should be. And it just feels like too often, Denver's obviously a team that cuts a lot off of Jokic as a hub of their offense. And so I think that their movement is causing a lot of, it does cause a lot of havoc and confusion on other teams, but they also just ball watch too much. They're watching the ball. They're confusing. They got beat backdoor a bunch of times. Shake got backdoored a bunch. Maxey too. Like, it just happens too much. And Jokic makes guys look silly doing that if their head's not on a swivel. But like, even against worse passing teams, like there should be simple communication stuff that they don't happen. And that's why over the last month or so, their defense has been like 25th in the league or something like that. Yeah. And the first half of this was miserable. Brooklyn shot like 62% from the field, I think, in the first half. Eventually it got down. They shot a freezing cold 54%. Denver did, but battle back in the second half, great second half. But like this, they can't look this bad. Sometimes they can look bad on defense, but they can't look quite as bad as they do. It happens too often. Sorry, Maxey offense. I don't know if you disagree with any of those things, but he stepped on the sideline 3 times. And
twice
at this point,
in like 30 seconds.
I know. And at this point, I just have to think that they're lying. I just have to think that the refs...
He looked incredulous the second time, as if he hadn't done it. I don't even know how you know if you've done it. It's the back of your heel. Yeah. For him to object that much was...
My opinion is going to be that they're lying, that the refs are lying.
Why would they do that?
Because because fuck them, because they're losers and they know that I'm watching.
Okay.
The really one of my favorite plays of the game, obviously the Harden checking himself into the game from the bench was very funny. But the first play of the second quarter, Maxey brings the ball up, dumps it into Embiid. Embiid has Zeke Naji on him. Jamal Murray immediately doubles off of Maxey onto Embiid. Embiid split second kick out back to Maxey for open three. Michael Malone calls a timeout right away. First play of the second quarter, 17 seconds into the game, Michael Malone timeout. I thought it was very funny. I enjoyed it. And then they ran the same exact play a minute later, except Tyrese Maxey. I thought that's when Embiid is a willing passer and a quick passer and anticipating those kinds of things, they can get really good, easy shots out of it. And I love it. And Maxey right now is just, he had that N1 3 in the corner with Bruce Brown all over him. He's just gotten to the point at this right now. Like he had a couple really nice transition, like leaner, that's impressive. But like, as far as like shot making goes, from his size, he's just one of the most impressive shot makers in the league. Like he's not Kyrie.
I never expected to go in. There's shots that don't look like they for him. It's like he has a whole bag he didn't have 2 years ago. Do you know what I mean?
He was not like a shooter coming out of Kentucky. Like he was like fast and energy and like get to the rim and impressive finishes, and like that floater was always nice. Like those kinds of things. And honestly, people expected him to be a better defensive player than he has been so far. But like he's really gotten really good as a shooter, and his outside shot is good. Step back, side steps, like he can hit anything, and he hit with guys on him, and from his size, from deep, from like 30 feet away, like his range is crazy. Like it's just, I love him, and I know there is absolute, I don't think I want them to do it, but there's absolute validity to saying like, man, they are a much better team if you replace Maxey with somebody who is bigger and can defend and can also shoot. But I love him, and he's really good, and there's just no telling how good he is, how good he can be. So I don't think I want them to trade him in any real way. I think let's make a couple things happen at the margins, improve backup center, that kind of thing. I just love the guy, man. He's just a joy.
And I'll say this though, he's got a specific role now on the team, and I think that's important. And like you've said a bunch of times that you don't want him to be, this isn't who he is for his entire career, but like, he's a super young player on a team that wants to win the championship. And at that point in your career, like you have to do what's best for the team right now. And that's best for the team, I think. And by the way, like, I don't even know if it's best for him to be in that starting lineup right now. Like I do think him sort of feeling his way through it and doing this thing where he scores a bunch of points and then maybe he evolves into, becomes a little bit, finds more time to create for other people offensively. So for this year right now, this is what he should do, but I'm glad that he has a specific defined role, and I think that'll be good for him.
Maybe that matters to players more than I want it to.
Yeah.
But like he's still playing 30 plus minutes a night.
Sure.
So it should be like, okay, sometimes you're going to be off ball, sometimes you're going to be on, sometimes Embiid's going to be there and you're going to be deferring to him, and sometimes it's going to be you and a bunch of backups. So like, there was a time when it was Maxey and a bunch of guys that were like, Shake's out there, he can do some stuff, but like most guys that are just like, it's all you, man. Like we're just going to give you the ball back. So I think that there's enough of a mix, but yeah, I mean, it's just this was a nice win.
Huge win.
With a bunch of contributors.
Huge win.
After showing a little bit of dog in the whole team. Like we've talked about guys individually, but they had a big comeback against the Clippers. They've won a couple big games. This has been a 20-4 stretch. You're going to have a bunch of good stuff happen, and it's been a really like everybody contributed in this win, except for Montrezl Harrell, and for it to like capped off by an Embiid, like probably his best game of the season. Like, man, what a nice thing.
Jokic people eat a dick. I'm just telling you, you gotta eat a dick. Like the MVP can't get shut down by PJ Tucker. Love PJ Tucker. He just like Jokic just got fucking like punked by PJ Tucker while Joel Embiid scored 47 points and had 18 rebounds. It's like, fuck off. I'm done. And the other thing, Mike, is I'm fucking back. These last two wins,
feel back.
I am back. I am back. I'm back. I'm back. I am back.
I would like to be back if their offense and defense can ever play well in the same game. And
nobody's playing defense this year. Like I actually feel like you've talked about playoffs versus regular season, this doesn't matter, that doesn't matter. To me, they're completely compartmentalized from each other at this point. Like every NBA game, somebody comes back from 24 points down. It's hard to tell how good their offense will be when other people are trying on defense. It's hard to tell how good their defense will be. So I'm just going to ride this right now, be honest with you. It feels
there were
good
several like 9-0 runs like in the third quarter. Like it was a very
they're shooting 80% at one point in the third quarter and hadn't like trimmed the lead at all, you know?
Crazy. And for a game where like Embiid, Harden, and Maxey all missed multiple free throws, it was a weird game for them to win this game. Just like when a couple funky things happened, a couple of weird technical fouls that the refs are just like, I'm just doing it. I'm just blowing the whistle because I like it. They could have easily lost this game. And it's a nice, every game that we do a podcast right after has a sense of heightened importance because you're catching us after the emotion of that. But this was like a marquee game against a marquee opponent who's really good. They're a really good team. I would love for this to be a finals matchup. That would be awesome. But it's just it's a feel good win. It's a feel good win, and you get an Ish Smith reference on the pod. How about that?
We're gonna get to the All-Star thing in just one moment. In just one moment, we will talk about All-Star, Joel Embiid's All-Star snub. Before I do, Briggs Auction, BriggsAuction.com. The bad news is that the Peter Rabbit auction is over. The good news is that there's a brand new discovery at Briggs Auction. Briggs Auction, 4th-generation, family-owned auction house in Delco. It's really, for me, I love surfing the internet for shit that I don't need, but I do want. And that's what Briggs Auction is. Download the Briggs Auction app, BRIGGS Auction in the Apple, the App Store or Google Play. Go to BriggsAuction.com. Every week at this point, there's great auctions. What they do is they take like huge collections of stuff. And in these auctions, there's like 1,000 lots for everything from vehicles to antique furniture to art that you're not going to find anywhere else. Not like something that you'll get at Pier 1. Right? Or Pottery Barn, real art or like collectibles that you find here at Briggs Auction. The new one is up there right now. I was scrolling on it earlier. There's one lot in the collectibles section, Moon Landing and Halley's Comet collectibles. There's a 50-inch Samsung TV in the box. There's a Mike Schmidt autographed baseball in there. All this shit at BriggsAuction.com. I love it, man. I think Briggs Auction is great. Also, clothing you're not going to find anywhere else. I just love one-of-a-kind stuff, and Briggs Auction helps you find one-of-a-kind shit. Go to BriggsAuction.com. That is BRIGGS Auction.com. And if you're downsizing, moving from home to home, or, I don't know, you look down your basement, you're like, oh my God, what's this worth? Info at BriggsAuction.com. Don't let anybody else auction your stuff other than Briggs Auction. BriggsAuction.com, BriggsAuction.com. Okay, I'm going to start off the All-Star. I have to give Ricky fans Ricky listeners rather, a very sincere thank you. The email and the voicemail has been overwhelming over the last like month and a half or 2 months. Like we have a backup of probably 30 or 40 good voicemails. Like I don't even put every good one in the queue, and tons of emails. So thank you. This was a big game. We won't get to a bunch of them this time, but we will get to them. But I feel like we need to kick off the All-Star segment of the pod with an All-Star of the Ricky voicemail. 833 Lickface. That is 833 Lickface. Oh, motherfucker. I can't do this anymore. I can't do it anymore, Mike. I think I have it hooked up, and then it's a problem.
While you're doing this,
here we go.
Two things.
Yep.
CJ put something in the chat about Embiid's reaction to Shake and Niang getting into the first half.
Yep.
Quote, I let both of them know we have a fucking game to win.
Yes.
I wish he would have smacked them both in the face. Yep. It would have been fun for me if they did that.
Mm-hmm.
And then also Doc Rivers did take credit for the PJ defending Jokic. He said he watched. Yeah, I mean he has to. It might be him, but it also I would love to see. Give me a time when he doesn't take credit.
He's the head coach.
I know, but give me a time when he's like someone else had a good idea.
Give
me
That's not Doc.
Let's hear one. Let's hear a time when he gives credit to Sam Cassell or Dan Burke or.
Let's be honest. Doc is an enormous egomaniac. He's just fucking a huge egomaniac. Unlike the guy that we're going to go visit in San Antonio next week. Okay, 833 Lickface. Here we go.
Weekly Becky here, a pro Spike, pro Science Team Tucker segment. Today I call because I am incredibly sad and sick and shaking over Joel not being an all-star starter. And I'm not suggesting that it's the Rickies' fault, but I do think you guys need to do something extra special for our guy Joel at the Fly the Process thing. And I'm calling to initiate a community brainstorm. He deserves it, and we're the people to cheer him up and make him realize that he's the best. He's the fucking best ever, ever, ever.
Joel Embiid, not an all-star starter. The three front court players for the Eastern Conference are Jason Tatum, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Kevin Durant.
Before you go on, I think your take on this is so wrong that I arguably don't even want to do the podcast anymore.
Well, it's
100%
right.
I want to dump my computer into the garbage.
It's honestly your take on.
I don't even want to submit a counter argument
your
because it's just
take
so
on it-
wrong. It's
your
so
take on it
unfortunately
is so
upsettingly wrong.
NBA media galaxy brain dumbfuck that
No.
I am actually sort of like embarrassed for you.
Oh man.
We shouldn't even have positions, even though there are positions on the basketball court.
It
and
says
it's always
front
been
court.
positions.
It says front court.
Yes, there are three. Here's the truth, man. There's always going to be somebody who is next who you wish got on it. There's three front court players. Giannis, Durant, and Tatum are all front court players. If you think Joel Embiid is better than one of those front court players, then you should say he should have been on the team instead of that front court player.
I mean, I do, but also Tatum could easily be a guard forward. He's easily
not
a
a
wing.
guard.
He's not playing
guard.
center. It's not the same.
not
It's
a
a different
guard.
thing.
He's
He
not a
could
guard.
easily just go Donovan Mitchell, Jason
not a
Tatum,
guard.
Embiid, Tatum, and Giannis. Absolutely.
But he's not a guard.
Luka's listed as a guard. Tatum does a lot of the same things. He brings the ball up. He leads them in assists or second assist, whatever. He's averaging 5. It's like it's the same. It's the same shit. It doesn't matter for them to like make it into like this is what it is. Our hands are tied. It's positions because it's a team. They're not even playing as a team. They're redrafting everybody. It truly couldn't matter any less. And for the NBA to decide like, hey, it has to be this. It has to be this. There's nothing we can do. It's just like dumb. And it's just it's so arbitrary and it's so pointless.
Over Embiid. Here's the problem. Kyrie Irving also would have made it over Embiid. Kyrie Irving was number 1 in fan vote. He was number 1 in player vote. Kyrie Irving would have made it over Embiid too. Like I agree that Joel Embiid should be a starter, but you can't just change the rules every time you don't like the way it's going. Why is it if it's not a team?
Just change it so that like the 5 best players are the starters.
Then why is it 5? Why is it 5?
Well, because that's how many people play on the basketball court.
And that's how many people are certain positions on the team.
That's not what it
right?
is. It's not at all. The difference between a shooting guard and a small forward is nothing. It's absolutely nothing. It is context.
No, it isn't context.
Yes, it is. It absolutely is. Danny Green would be a shooting guard on some teams, and he'd be a small forward on another team. It's the same thing.
A front court player or a back court player?
Sometimes he plays wing. He plays with Harden and Maxey a lot of the time. So is he a wing or is he a guard?
He's a guard. It's too bad that you're so fucking wrong about this.
It just doesn't matter. Like it is so painfully arbitrary.
Center. He's a center in 1980, in 1990, in
I'm not saying he's not a center.
Okay.
If you had Embiid and Jokic on the same team, you wouldn't play both of them 24 minutes a game. You would find a way to play them because you'd play your 5 best players.
What team in the NBA is playing 2 centers at the same time?
A lot. Weirdly, a lot of them actually. Like,
oh, really? Who?
Yeah, like Jericho Sims plays with Mitch Robinson a lot, and the Wizards play Dan Gafford and Kristaps Porzingis together a lot. And there's a couple. There's like it happens more than I think it would. Like Zion could be considered a center. He plays with Jonas a lot,
and
so Jackson Hayes as well.
The need to pander to the other 47 people who don't understand that there are positions on the basketball court, all smelling each other's. First of all,
these are different. These are different things than the all NBA stuff, which I also disagree with. But this is a thing where it says front court and back court. Obviously, right. Embiid and
Jason Tatum is a front court player.
He's a wing. It's arbitrary. You could put him at guard.
Kyrie Irving would have made it over Embiid too.
Oh, that's fine. But that's a different part of it. But that's a different part of it. As far as like who should Embiid have made it over? If we're saying, I'm not saying like.
Then we're done. Then we're done.
But we're saying you're not saying that. You're not saying obviously. Spike, your argument is that Kyrie Irving would have made anyway. Like then why are we talking about it? Because Embiid didn't make the team. So you're saying like he didn't make the team, whatever. I'm saying what it should have been
I didn't say
is
whatever.
Embiid should have been able. You should have been able to list Tatum as a guard. As a
not a
guard
guard.
wing, and then it's the same shit. It doesn't matter.
It does matter.
It's not. They're not even playing as a team, and even then, they're not. Even if they were playing as a team, it's an all-star game. It's an exhibition game. It doesn't matter.
well, then
the
shift
NBA
7.
should arrange it so that their 5 best players in each conference are the 5 all-star starters.
but that's
because it
not
doesn't
how
matter
it
who else it is.
works.
This is all
That's
massively
not how it
arbitrary.
works. Okay, well then I'll bring it back to the same thing I always bring it back to: the football All-Pro team. If there's 4 quarterbacks-
Obviously, positions in football matter
the
more
pro
than
team
positions
doesn't
in
play
basketball. It's
together,
wild,
Mike.
and
It's
positions
not a
in
real
baseball
team.
matter more. In
It's not a
basketball,
real
everyone's on the
team.
court.
It's not
Jokic
a
is
real
passing the ball a
team.
lot.
They're not actually
It doesn't
playing
matter.
together. It's
Oh
not a
man,
real
it's just
team.
so.
You know
I
what?
feel bad that you look at the world this way.
Oh,
that you look at the
please.
world in such a narrow way. Like who gives a shit? You want the 5 best.
You
The
give
NBA
a
should want
shit.
the 5 best
You
players
give a
on the
shit.
court.
You moron.
No,
you give a
you
shit.
give a shit. I'm saying I give a shit because Embiid is one of the 5 best players in the East, so obviously he should
Yes.
be an all-star starter. So why who is like the position stands? Why are we defending it has to be he's a power forward, like, and he must play only power forward,
That's
otherwise
not
he
what I
mustn't get
said.
in the game. Like
That's
it's all
not what I
bullshit.
said.
It doesn't matter. Put the fucking 5 best players on the court and stop arguing about it. Adam Silver.
That's not what a basketball team is. It's
It's not a basketball team. It's an all-star
And why
team.
isn't Tyrese Maxey starting?
It's not what it. It's
Is he
obviously
one of
the
five
Sixers.
best
The
players on
Sixers.
the Sixers.
Yes, of course.
And
But
why
the
isn't he
Sixers are
starting?
trying. The Sixers
Mike,
are
and
trying
why
to
isn't
win
he
basketball
starting?
game. The All-Star game is trying
And
to
why
honor
isn't
the
he
5 best
starting?
players.
And
You're
why
just
isn't he
saying
starting?
anything. You're just anything that you think. You're just saying it, and you're like,
why isn't he
And
starting?
before I can answer,
No,
you're just like,
because You don't have any logic to defend what you said aside
The 5
from
best players should be on the team because it's an exhibition game. That's what I think. And if the 5 best players are all centers, then they should be centers, and that's fine. But this
it's
isn't the
not
case.
fine. It's
This is the case because Jason Tatum can play a shooting guard or small forward depending on the team. It doesn't matter. That's like such a narrow difference to say like Embiid, unfortunately, don't get to be an all-star starter because Tatum is 6'8" instead of 6'6". So if he was 6'6", then he would have played. It's just like it's all arbitrary. It doesn't matter.
It does matter. It does matter. That's how teams are constructed. That's how and that's how basketball teams are made. And this is the all-star team.
All right.
And
we got a good
they
argument out of it. So there's
they
to the Reddit people. We got you one.
They create it out of what a basketball team looks like. And actually, the biggest problem I see is that all-pro and all-star or all NBA and all-star do not mimic each other. It should be the same for both of them. It should either be whatever they decide it should be, whether it's the 5-player list, whether it is the 3 front court, 2 back court, or whether it's the center, 2 forward, 2 guard. It should be the same in all NBA as it is an all-star. And the one thing that I would agree with you on is that with all NBA, they tend to give players more position definitions than they do in all-star. So like Jimmy Butler can be a guard or a forward or those sorts of things. It should be the same for both of them. It shouldn't be different. I agree with you on that one, but this is what it is. And I just hate that the argument is Embiid didn't start. They should just change the rules. Like the argument should be Embiid is better than one of these 3 players, has been better than one of these 3 players this year. And for what it's worth, I would have put him over Durant. I would have put him over Tatum in this thing. So
I probably would have put him over Giannis this year. I think Embiid's just been better.
The weird thing about Giannis is that it's not as good as his normal year is, and it's still awesome.
Yeah, I mean he's obviously very good, but
yeah.
I think if arbitrary, what I find to be very arbitrary rules, since it is an exhibition game, not a professional team that you're trying to assemble to win games. If the rules spit out that this is the results and sorry we can't do anything, then you should change the rules. Like Embiid's one of the 5 best players, you should put him in there. It's just like how it is. And regardless of like what the fans voted for, whatever, you should be able to say, okay, my all-star team or my starters in the East are Donovan Mitchell, Jason Tatum, Durant, Giannis, Embiid. If you had those 5 players, you would start those 5 players. You wouldn't be like, wow, we got to get another guard in there. Like you would play those 5 players, whether you start them or you put them in crunch time, whatever it is. Like they're obviously 5 very good players, and you would just find a way to do it. And I struggle, and it's the same thing with like when refs call technical fouls because of arbitrary shit. I struggle with just like very arbitrary rules, and we go like, well, this is law and order, and this is what we have to do. It's just like it just feels really dumb. Like we are capable. All of this stuff is made up. We're capable of saying, yeah, I mean, I guess Tatum's maybe more of a small forward than he is a shooting guard, but like whatever. For the sake of this game, we can put him at the other thing so we can get the 5 best players in the starting lineup for this All-Star game. But whatever. It doesn't, it's not going to change Embiid's career in any way. I hope it gives him motivation. I hope this game was motivation of him doing that, and he likes to have a chip on his shoulder. I just get really I rankle at really dumb rules that everyone goes, well, my hands are tied. But I know you don't think it's dumb, so that's why we got a good argument out of it.
Well, but I also think I don't think it's the same as technical fouls. Like referees.
I think it's the same logic of like, well, sorry, you did this, and we're sorry. I am absolute. I have no ability to use any context or brain function. I have to say like, sorry, Tatum is front court. Tatum can't be. He couldn't possibly. You would never start him in your backcourt, which like. The Raptors start 4 power forwards, and it's just like,
and they're 10 games under 500.
Yeah, they are. They should be better. They're not 10 games under 500, but they should be better. It's because they don't have enough shooting. But weird season for the Raptors. Waiting to see what happens with them. But
so I got a voicemail the other day at like 6:30 in the morning. A voicemail came in. I was like, what the fuck? And you will enjoy this. 833 Lickface as to who it is.
Hey guys, Spike and Mike, this is Jacob from Kismet Bagels, first time, long time. I just gotta say, I feel like it would be fucking entertaining as hell to bring Becky on for a live debate with Mike about the PJ Tucker situation. Can we make this happen? The girl's called in so many times. Come on, we gotta bring her on for a guest spot. Make it happen. Love you guys. See ya.
How dare Kismet Bagels send a voicemail and not send me a bagel? How dare they?
To be honest with you, I made the request. See, it was right before you went to Memphis. I told him, I was like, you got to send Mike some bagels. So I think some are going to come for you. They just have not come yet.
All right. We'll see.
Yeah.
I hope it comes in the same stateside cases.
There's 3 giant boxes of
giant boxes of bagels.
And
I obviously like Becky. And I was like, PJ Tucker, like, I want him to be better. And I loved him before the season. Like, he just hasn't been good enough. And today's game was like, yes, absolutely. Finally, thank you. This was a remarkable PJ Tucker game. He was huge. He absolutely was, him and Embiid, the biggest parts of the win. But we can also say that he hasn't been good enough. Like we're also able to do that. And we're also able to say like, buddy, I want to hear him say how dead his hand is. Like it's a joke now. It's fine.
He's never talked about it, right? I don't think he's ever.
He
talked
mentioned
about
it. He mentioned it one time. I forget where, but I don't know what it is that would. He's been in the league so long. He signed a 3-year contract. He's not like he's expiring
37.
and needs to get his last one. Like, you could take 2 weeks off. People take 2 weeks off all the time. There's a whole commotion about player load management and rest. And he has an injury in that his hand is no longer alive. And I would love to try to just see if they can resuscitate it I was asking for a month. I'll take 2 weeks. Give me 2 weeks. You've proven yourself. There it is. But like, no, I don't. There's no big rivalry between Becky. Love Becky. Love weekly Becky. But it's just, I need to see more, and I need to see a nice little PJ gets to go to the beach.
It is funny that was it last year or the year before? It was the year before. It was 20. Last year was 21-22, right? It was 2021 when Danny Green, the true COVID year, not the bubble year, but the next year, where Danny Green was playing more minutes than anybody else on the team. And it feels a little similar. I think Danny Green won, but didn't they play one game where they only had 6 players or something, and he played 48 minutes?
I think that was last year because of during the Omicron COVID surge. Yeah.
Oh, you're right. Let's leave on. We haven't done relationship advice in a while, and I feel like this is time sensitive. Of course, the relationship advice theme comes from War on Drugs, Eliza Hardy Jones. Or not yet.
I keep my heart under my pillow with my teeth and other lies. I've been waiting on your halo just to shine the light.
Both the War on Drugs, Eliza Hardy Jones, and the Philadelphia Eagles, Eliza Hardy Jones.
Yeah. Unbelievable. Her and Charlie from War on Drugs producing that the Eagles offensive line Christmas album.
Incredible.
They love Eliza. They love Charlie. They love Eliza. It's so cool. It's so cool.
Very cool.
Congratulations to both of them. I'm so happy that Eliza. So I talked to her the night of Drug Sember, and she's just so happy in the band. I've been around a lot of bands. I've worked in music radio for 15 years, and they seem like they get along as well, if not better, than any band I've ever seen. Actually,
Love it.
So
Truly one of my favorite bands. And Eliza, one of my favorite people.
Eliza Hardy-Jones is the relationship advice theme song master. This comes from George. Hi, Spike, Mike, and CJ. First of all, thanks for your constant stream of entertainment. I can't believe we had the All-Star.
Of course we did. Come on, it was building to that.
Yeah.
Everyone's been asking for a fight. We had to get it out of our system. It's just dumb enough to have a screaming fight about it.
Oh, I love you, Mike. Hi, Spike, Mike, and CJ. First of all, thank you for the near constant stream of entertainment. I keep kicking myself because I only started listening over the last year or so, even though I've known about the pod since the beginning from Liberty Ballers. Anyway, on to the question. I am to be the best man at my best friend's wedding in June, and one of my duties is to take care of flower decorations for the church. Just a tradition here in Greece. I don't know if it's the same over there in the States. The head bridesmaid and I have visited a couple of florists, and apparently the types of flowers you're supposed to get is dependent on the type of dress the bride is going to be wearing.
Okay.
If the dress is simpler, then you're supposed to go overboard with the decorations and vice versa. So I had to see the dress. The bride and the bridesmaid had me swear I won't describe it to the groom, and then showed it to me. Let's just say there won't be too much need for flower decoration. It's extremely revealing.
What a specific tradition this is.
Yes. It's extremely, weddings in general are full of unexplainable tradition.
But yeah, the best man picks the flowers is such an odd thing.
It's extremely revealing and has some parts that look completely see-through, and a neckline that I swear to God must be reaching past her belly button. Not to mention that the back of the dress is entirely absent. Frankly, the upper part of the dress looks more like a bikini top with some extra lacy fabric than it does an actual top. Now, I get this must be coming across as entirely puritanical on my part, but this isn't about me or my taste in wedding dresses. It's about my friend, the groom, and the near certainty that this is going to come as a complete and not very pleasant shock to him. I know his parents, and you'll be hard-pressed to find more conservative and uptight people. He isn't quite as bad as them, but the apple didn't fall too far from the tree, and I'm like 95% sure he's going to be toe-curlingly embarrassed in front of 200 people.
So do you get the impression, I know you have more to read, do you get the impression that the email is everyone involved in this wedding is Greek?
Yes.
Okay.
This is in Greece.
Not just the wedding is in Greece.
Correct.
And they're from like Lansdale or whatever.
Yes. Yeah. I think this is a Greek wedding.
Okay.
So what am I supposed to do? What's the protocol here? Do I just straight up go back on my word and tell him? Do I shut my mouth and forget I ever saw it? What if he asked me about the fact that I knew what the dress looked like? Do I lie then? Honestly, someone should come up with a handbook or manual for situations like this, best man's etiquette or something. Anyway, that's it for now. If you ever find the time, let me know your take. Keep up the good work in TTP. P.S. Spike, if you ever mention trading Maxey again, please ban yourself.
I think that the answer is pretty obviously to do nothing.
Yeah.
I think that she picked the dress. She's the bride. That's what she wants to wear. It's her day.
Yeah.
And she's aware of the way it looks, and her friends are, theoretically, I assume. And so I think saying anything, it's not about you. And the groom couldn't possibly blame you for this. What's he going to do? So how's that play that out? Like, you step in, tell him, he demands that she show him the dress. He says, no, you can't wear that. Like, what's the best thing? I think it's pretty obvious. No, I will say for us, Alyssa got her dress a long time ago and showed me a picture of it to make sure that I wouldn't laugh at it, because we're comedy writers. I would make fun of a dress that I did think was ridiculous.
And it's got a banana on it.
And it's got a couple bananas on it. A couple Greek traditional bananas, and no, but I liked it, and I wouldn't have laughed at it. There were a couple other options she showed me, but I haven't seen it since then. So it's been now over a year or whatever since I've seen it. So I won't remember it, but at least it was not an embarrassing, like crazy sleeves or whatever the fuck. But I think the answer here is no.
You know, I've been thinking about this since I read it. I was going through the email this morning and I read it and I was thinking about it, and I hadn't even really, like, that wasn't going to be my answer, but I think it's right. I think, like, it's a little bit like, even though you might handle this differently, if you see somebody cheating on somebody, or like the minute that you insert yourself into this decision is like the minute that it becomes more complicated.
I think in the real world, if you saw his wife cheating on, or his fiance cheating on him, then you should say something. That is something that you'd be like, hey man. But in Real Housewives, then that does blow back onto you a lot.
Yeah.
By that logic, but I don't think this is the same situation. He knows she's going to wear a dress to the wedding. He knows she's going to pick the one that she wants, and it's just not your job to like assume maybe he won't like that or that, whatever. It's not about you. It's about her.
Also,
Pick the goddamn flowers and get out of there.
When it's done, you've described it in a certain way that I just feel like I need to know if it's as revealing as you said it
Wow.
is.
I do like a backless dress.
Yes,
I don't know the V-neck or whatever it is, the
belly neck.
Yeah.
Belly neck.
I don't know that that's quite for me, but maybe it's beautiful. Maybe I love it. Maybe it's the exact same dress Alyssa's gonna wear.
Yeah. You never know.
You never know.
All right. Well, we got Orlando twice and this 7 in a row, and Embiid is better than Jokic, and PJ Tucker saved the day, and it was all Doc's idea.
That's right. And the Sixers are, 32-16.
Pretty good.
Pretty good.
Are they
Pretty
2.5 behind the Celtics?
And we didn't talk too much about this, but like AU wrote the January Sixers article a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And it's just like it's happened too many times for the people that are new fans. Like the Sixers always dominate January since Embiid started here. Even Embiid's first best month of the season was January, before he hurt himself against the Rockets and then missed the rest of the year. I mean, it just keeps happening. They're incredible in January. They're an incredible January basketball team, and I think if it stands to reason, February will not be as good.
Yes.
But we know we can get through January. We know we're capable of this, and hopefully it's not as bad as past years. But they're a good basketball team, man. I would like a 1 or 2 ads at the deadline, but things are good.
It's hard to believe it's still January.
Yeah,
Feels like a long January, doesn't it?
our January Sixers, man.
All right. We'll talk to you next time. Are you done with TTP?
Yeah, like face.